If you came to this video thinking I was going to be talking about praise for APS or, you know, how it's an awesome gun, it's inexpensive, well, it ain't like that. They're very cheap, but you can get better, cheaper guns, just about any gun not made by APS. And APS makes their own brand, the Especial rifle here. They make Airsoft Megastore Armory, is made by APS. Most of the Javelin series of guns are made by APS. Those are the only ones that aren't are the MP44, which is made by AGM for Javelin. Javelin's just like a catch-all name that one of the United States distributors uses. And the Javelin Super CQB is a decent gun. It's made by Ares. And some people, you know, poo-poo Ares, but it's like Ares guns are much better than APS. World's better. Oh, Black Ops, the Walmart brand, Dick's Sporting Goods brand. Those are made by APS, and they're all shit. I see a lot, and most of them I can't fix because I can't get the parts, and number two, if I fixed it, it would just break again, because they're shitty metallurgy and just poor design. You know, so we'll go over a little bit of the history of the Javelins, I guess. Those are the first sort of APS gun people, you know, started seeing, you know, a couple of years ago. Then, you know, they got all kind of blown out at, you know, your big Airsoft, like Airsoft GIs and E-Vikes blew them out really cheap because they were junk. And, you know, we got some initially back in the day, and all three were broken out of the box, and we're like, nope, we're not getting any more of these. And what APS did was they copied the blowback feature from the Classic Army blowback M4s, which had some inherent, you know, I wouldn't say it's quirks, it was in inherent sort of weaknesses when they would blow the front off the gearbox. And the APSs were, the APSs made for Javelin had the same issue where they blew the whole front off the gearbox, which is stupid. And that's why you won't see another, you know, blowback Classic Army in this country unless it's an old one, like, you know, old stock. Their distributor said, nope, we're not doing any more of those blowback Classic Armies because it blows the front of the gearbox. So APS copied that, but used even poor quality metal than Classic Army. And, you know, that came back to bite them. Came back to bite a lot of, you know, retailers and wholesalers, because it was just a fiasco. But APS still makes stuff and sells to other people, like I said. The APS, the Black Ops, you know, your Walmart guns. People bring those in, and I look at them, and they're just looking at the mag well, and was like, well, I can't fix this because the front of your gearbox is gone, and the gearboxes are slightly different in size than a regular gearbox, and I'm like, your gun is essentially junk. So, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it is junk. But this one came in, there was no, you know, no trigger response, whatever, you know, no continuity, you know, pull the trigger, and nothing. But anyway, you know, took it out of the, you know, maybe I could buy a switch, you know, put a new trigger switch in it. Nope. So let's, this is their newer style one, so they have more screws to help strengthen it, but it's still crap, and it's got the, they call it the QD Transform, which is a ripoff of the Ares, you know, quick change spring guide system, which everyone's ripping off now, so, you know, I guess it's now a new standard. So, but whatever, you know, this is sort of a nylon plastic, it's kind of, that'll break, but it doesn't matter because the rest of the gun will break before that. You know, I pretty much just literally opened up the gun, was like, wow, this is really shitty, I'm just going to start videotaping it. So, quick keen-eyed viewers will notice why this isn't working right away. But let's take some of this crap off here. Oh yeah, they also use different, the nozzle is not a standard width, standard diameter, and the same goes in their hop-up, so those are not compatible. You know, if you change your nozzle to a regular version 2 nozzle, whatever, you also have to change the hop-up. This is much thinner, and it's also shit. So let's pull this thing out. I'm filming with one hand, so you know what, I'm not even going to do a compression test, because using one hand. On their older gearboxes, like one side of the piston was like, the rack was like narrower on the guides, and I was like, why would you do that? But this is fine. There's some wear on it, but you know, whatever. I don't know if you can even see in there, but Let's take a look inside that. Yeah, that's fine, but still, the rest of the gun's junk. Tapered plate, little stiff, it's fine. Gears, probably steel. Use my, yeah, steel. But it doesn't matter. The rest of the gun is junk. And you can look at the wear on that. That's kind of funny. Oh, look at that. Here's corresponding wear on the inside of the gearbox on that side. Nice. So that was shimmed like shit from the factory. And it's, you know, copied of the reinforced classic Army design. But, you know, it's not a... I mean, they're both pot metal, but it's, you can see the grain in this. You know, it's not going to be that strong. So you can see now that the early ones had different, you know, this was a post, that was a post, instead of being standard, like it's now standard version 2, well, maybe it looks like standard version 2. Trigger, now it looks like standard version 2. This, sort of, you know, cheap, probably steel, yes it is. I mean, you're rarely going to find cast Mazic or zinc gears anymore. That's pretty much only Marui's. That's fine on a Marui. If your Marui runs 300 FPS, it's going to be fine. You know, the Marui is really good engineering on stuff, so they know what they're doing. Wire would probably be fine. Alright, so here's the reason the gun doesn't work. That thing there, that goes right behind this, the trigger shuttle, so it can, like, stop that. Otherwise, you know, it just goes back and then you can't. It's just fucked, you know. No redeeming quality there. Yeah, had I prepared more, I would have shown you a non-messed up gearbox. But, you know, I didn't, so... Oh well. Just rip this shit out of there. Oh, it's glued down, which is fine, you know, super gluing stuff down is fine. I do it too to prevent wires from getting eaten by motors. It's not a big deal. Just makes for videos being longer. Let's yank this shit off. Oh, they use the Marui style safety now. Before they did not. This is kind of archaic, that whole selector plate safety. No one really uses that anymore, but now they've decided to go back to this, probably because their things were junk. So this is Bakelite. Not too much wear on it. The original Javelin APSs, they would melt. The metal part would melt into the back of the trigger shuttle, and you know, it was just made out of some plastic. You know, it was probably like polycarbonate or something. Who knows? You know, just some plastic, but it was able to get hot enough just from regular batteries to melt that metal piece into the back of a, you know, into the trigger shuttle. But these are Bakelite, so that can't happen. Some of these even show up with Mosfets. The Mosfets are pretty crappy. It's sort of a basic MOSFET. Sort of like the JG MOSFET, but, you know. Alright, trigger contacts, you know, all that fun garbage. So you can see right there, this little thing there with my grubby fingernail. That is where this goes. Prevents this from going too far back and getting stopped. And, you know, it's got to stop there. Oop. So if that was there, this wouldn't be broken. But, you know, being an APS, you know, it's not one thing will be broken on APS. You know, two things. Look at that, that's an oval. That's supposed to be not an oval. Is that metal? I mean, is that... It's not steel. It's either pressed or glued in. Well, let's stick a gear in there and see what happens. You can see it's oval, and this gun is probably less than a year old, and so, you know, moves back and forth. Not good. That's probably what caused that wear pattern. But yeah, there's no reason for that. I mean, come on, Marui's plastic. You know, a lot of Sportline guns, it's plastic and it's fine. Even the, you know, copper ones are fine.
Who knows what the hell this metal is, and it's shit. Is that shims on where the inner reverse latch was? I didn't pay too much attention when I pulled it open because I was too busy like laughing at the other stuff. But yeah, this gun is just, it's crap, it's just shit. Don't buy any sort of APS product. You know, someone who professionally repairs guns, it's just junk, and if you bring it to the store, it's sort of like, well, maybe I can fix it, but, you know, when it goes to, you know, their gearbox being broken, it's like, oh, it's not even worth it. You know, this is a, you know, cheap gun dressed up to look fancy, and, they're not worth it. I mean, some of these were selling for like over 200 bucks when they were new, you know, and it's like, it's junk. So, say again, APS, Black Ops, Airsoft Megastore Armory, and the older, well, I guess Javelins that aren't the MG44 or the Super CQB. Avoid them like the plague. You're going to have a bad time. It's going to break on you. Anyone selling one cheap and saying it's awesome is just, they're lying through their teeth. They're just trying to get rid of them. It's crap. So it's just Airsoft PSA for today. Have a good one.